Were you impressed with Brock Purdy and his return to action?
Yes, and I'm going to give him extra credit if I can. If you guys allow me to give Brock Purdy extra credit, because my biggest concern for Brock Purdy coming into this season, Allen, and if we were going to see him at all in preseason, was his health and that elbow. And I just hate that this whole quarterback thing for the 49ers is, now that we find out it wasn't a competition coming into this year, now that Brock was cleared and ready to go to resume football activities, he looked fresh.
Yeah.
He looked healthy. I'm tired of sitting here saying, well, why didn't Sam get to run these plays? The bottom line is Brock Purdy's job. He was out there with Debo. And Allen, last time I saw you, I know Debo is a specimen. It's just incredible, his physique. Mm-hmm. But he talked to us and allowed us into his world and said he wasn't in the best shape last year from the eye test. I couldn't tell, but he's back. He looked great. And Brock Purdy, he never told us he was Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick, but he is elusive.
Yes.
And that drive and the ability to just get the ball out is what I think. It's not arm strength, Styles. He knows where he's going with it. Kyle sends everybody deep. Here comes Debo in motion like Madden.
Yeah.
The flat wide open. Brock Purdy, 19 problems. Let me give it to him quick, fast, in a hurry. And bam, the rest is history. So Brock and the timing, he looked like he was back, Jack. And I was like, okay, I've seen enough. So it's his job. Sam Darnold. There were some good things, good throws. You pointed out the throw. Who was it to Jennings on the sideline? Good throw. There was also, he got sacked this time a couple times more than he did in Vegas, but there was nothing to where I'm like, oh, my God, he's a bum. And then our guy, Trey Lance, Styles, I am not a hater.
Okay.
What I figured out.
Are you about to moonwalk?
You calling me Michael?
Are you about to moonwalk?
James Brown? No. I'm just saying there is a part of me that still wants to see Trey Lance with 19 problems and McCaffrey, but I'll put that to a side. I'll put that to the side, and I got to give flowers to Trey on this. The interception to the lineman, yuck. But I've noticed, just like the Raider game, as he gets going, he gets better. And boy, did he need that drive. And he was throwing seeds to our guy, Ronnie Bell, not Ricky Bell. Shout out to the New Edition fans.
The new yak, bro.
Yeah, but he was firing it, got the team into the end zone. So that's a win. Right. And I come to you guys this Monday as saying, I think there's no way in hell now, if you want to take this as a W for the Trey Lance stands, there's no way he's not quarterback 3, and maybe 2 is still up for grabs, but he did well for himself.
Brock Purdy, 4 for 5, 65 yards, 8 rushing yards. And we're going to talk about Brock's elusiveness, by the way, because some of y'all blowing it up. And you got on me for the jump throw last week. Yeah. So I'm going to get on some of these people making it seem like
and the Kaminga highlights and the Clay highlights that you
all
bumped
of it. Yeah. Sam Darnold, 11 for 14, 109 yards, a touchdown, 18 rushing yards. Trey Lance, 12 for 18, 173 yards, touchdown and interception. Sam Darnold, interception as well. -2 rushing yards. I'll start with Brock Purdy.
Okay.
888-957-9570. Were you impressed with what you saw from Brock Purdy? I'll start with Brock Purdy. I was impressed with Brock Purdy. I thought he looked like Brock Purdy, and that's why I was impressed, because what we saw from Brock Purdy last season was impressive. Now, I've been thinking about this, Goo, and why a lot of people seem to not believe in Brock and not believe in this offense for whatever the reason is, and still want to see Trey Lance.
Are there people out there?
There are still people out there. They call Brock a noodle arm, a lot of different things. I don't think Brock has a noodle arm at all. But I will say that in baseball, they say that people dig the long ball, right? You love to see the home run. Chicks dig the long ball. Yeah. It is what it is now. I'm trying to include everybody, right? And Trey Lance, we saw it to Danny Gray last season, being able to throw the long ball, being able to do things that we haven't seen this offense do before.
All right.
I think that's why people are hesitant to believe in Brock Purdy. Even though we've seen the throws, we know that the long ball for Brock Purdy are those throws between the numbers to George Kittle, 20 yards up the field, right? That's what you're going to get in this offense. And dare I say, Goo, small ball. I think the Niners play a version, and what it seems like, I know somebody's going to hop in here with, well, if you actually look at the air yards, this area, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how it looks.
Yeah.
When you watch this offense and you see Brock Purdy toss it to Debo and let Debo be Debo twice, right? You say, you know what? Brock put it in the right spot. We can give him credit for that. But it comes off as if this is a small ball offense that eventually you're going to come up against some big boys, and the small ball offense isn't going to work. And we've seen this small ball offense before with Jimmy Garoppolo. That is why I think people are hesitant to believe in this. Now, like I said, if you actually look at the air yards, I'm sure they're not too far off. Not talking about specifically what Brock did in this preseason game, but in general. But Brock's never going to throw for 300 yards. That's not how this offense is built. We know it's very run heavy, and then you're going to get it to your playmakers. You got a Christian McCaffrey, you got a Debo, you got those guys. I'm just saying, when I'm thinking about why are certain Niner fans not sold on this offense? And I think they just feel as if this type of dink and dunk offense, and I hate saying that because I don't think it's necessarily dink and dunk. Because I'm not there
yet, right.
But I do think that they just believe it has a shelf life. I'm not saying it does or doesn't.
Okay.
But you haven't won a Lombardi with Shanahan playing this type of way, and that is why people were so excited for Trey. I don't think anybody would say that Brock Purdy isn't better than Trey at this moment. It's just I'm still not convinced, and I'm talking as that person, I'm still not convinced that we can win with this style of offense. And until they do, that person isn't wrong.
Okay. Well, they can be wrong in this sense because I don't look at the Niner offense as small ball. I look at it as electric.
Yeah.
They have a plethora of weapons. If you want to, remember, I was like, I was worried about everybody eating. Who was going to get greedy? Who wasn't getting enough? Who, was playing for the name on the back of the jersey instead of the front? But the Debo, those play calls was just a reminder of how electric this team can be. And we got to remember that you got Kittle, who was catching, 6 touchdown passes after Brock Purdy took over. So, Alan, I would just tell you, just ignore the haters, if you want to call them that. But Brock Purdy went undefeated. He won you 2 playoff games against a high-caliber defense in the Dallas Cowboys. And, yeah, I know they didn't put up 40, but it is the NFL playoffs. So, I don't know what they are waiting for, but whoever was quarterback, you could add what you just said, the phrase of, that's why you didn't get the Lombardi, because we'll see how it looks. We're watching. But I'm not telling you I don't think Kyle Shanahan has a limitation on this Niner offense under Brock Purdy like he did Jimmy. I think it's smart to use a guy that I believe defenders do not want to tackle on a good day, which is Deebo Samuel, the way we saw. So I can't come in here and say I prescribe to that. I don't. I think this offense is electric. And again, we haven't seen Kittle. He has the adductor going on.
Right.
We haven't seen McCaffrey. But it's just almost like, how do you can die a million ways if you're an NFL defense going up against this Kyle Shanahan juggernaut and what he decides which way he wants to give it to you. But just again, for Saturday night, I thought all 3 quarterbacks did okay for themselves.
Yes, I think so too. But here's the best thing about this whole quarterback soap opera. It doesn't matter what camp you're in. If you're a Brock star, if you're a Trey Lance guy, they call a Brock star, a Trey bot as they call them. And I don't know. I don't think Sam Darnold has a camp.
Shout out my followers.
I'm sure we can find the Sam Darnold camp out there somewhere.
Gotcha.
Everybody was able to take something good. Everybody was able to take something good from this and something bad.
Right.
Let's go through them. If I am a Trey Lance guy who doesn't want to see I've seen the Brock show before, and I think Trey's our guy, you could say, okay, well, Brock gets in there, and yeah, he looked good, 4 for 5, 65 yards, but 39 of those yards came from Debo being Debo. Right? I'm speaking as that person, right? So you have that person. Then you have, like we said, we don't know if they're the Sam Darnold people out there. So let's just go to Trey Lance.
Shanahan.
The Sam Darnold guy, right? The Trey Lance guys, who if you thought, hey, if you are a Brock star, Trey Lance, hey, come on, guys, enough is enough. All you got to do is look to that pick that was just terrible to the lineman. I mean, he almost broke social media with that because everybody.
That was terrible.
Everybody's a quarterback. How can it be? I've never seen. And first of all, was it a little Was it a little overblown? I mean, you've never seen a pick like that.
Well, it's about
it was bad.
Have some touch and
it was bad.
Some foresight. But people get it over the line.
People were saying, I've never seen anything like that in my life. But again, if you are a Brock star, you can see that and say, Trey Lance can't even throw a screen. Mm-hmm. So when you guys want to talk about Brock having these easy throws, Trey Lance can't even do that. Now let's flip it back to the other side. Trey Lance and what he did, the end of that game.
He needed that.
I'm not saying Brock can't do that because I believe he could, but that was very nice seeing Trey do that. And if you go back, Gook, because you know I watched my tape.
Look at my boy.
Now I don't have to watch North Dakota State anymore. Now I can watch new tape. And if you watch Trey Lance, he's moving on those are not set throws. Those are difficult throws. So, and we'll talk about the Ronnie Bell drops. We'll talk about Jake Moody. A lot of different things happened in this game. So a lot to take away no matter what side you're on. And that's what we love, to be able to come on here and talk about it too. Ultimately, you have to be happy with basically, if I'm ranking the guys and how happy I am with their performance, Brock would have to be number one because he's coming off an injury. Trey would be number two because of how he finished. And I'm saying at this point, Sam Darnold, to me, is he getting a pass for just being Sam Darnold? I mean, that touchdown at the end, honestly, Goo, it felt like Kyle Shanahan, and we got the sound to talk about why he played Sam Darnold so long. It felt like Sam Darnold was not coming out.
I got kind of mad.
It felt like Sam Darnold wasn't coming out of that game until he threw a touchdown.
Yeah.
So to me, sure, it counts, but yeah, if you leave a vet in there for that long, he better throw a touchdown. Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah. No, and I went to Twitter. I went to X, and I was like, where's Trey? I wasn't the only one, but I'll say this. It's just like you. You're filling in for Steiny. Let's say you were filling in for me, Alan, and you say, you know what? If I could do what Guru's doing with Steiny, and you can. You showed it. But yet, at what turn and what has to happen for you to get that opportunity? Something would have to happen to me. Either quit, fire, they tell me to go.
Right.
Then it's on you. So that's where Trey's at, basically. He has one more week. I don't think we'll see Purdy this Friday. And I got to say this. I do now wonder, and I think about it, and I'm sharing it with you and the masses, where that quarterback 2 competition is. Did Trey surpass him? The politics of it all, where he was drafted, all the noise and the articles that were being written about Allen. And I was kind of there after the Vegas game, like, oh my God, is he going to?
Gone.
Yeah, is he going to? I was never gone, but I was far away. I was like, is he going to make the team? I now don't even think that's in jeopardy at all.
Right.
So I'm asking you, point blank range, do you think there's a scenario? Or do you think this Friday is big in regard to Trey surpassing Darnold if you see it that way? Because Brock Purdy, this is his job.
Right.
He's going to be quarter QB1 against Pittsburgh. But where are you at? Do you think Trey made any headway? Or are you looking at me like, Goo, do you know Kyle? How do you know Darnold was ahead of him?
Yeah.
I'm old now. I'm 50, so I know. I feel 35. I feel like
35.
Darnold's ahead of Trey. Darnold was ahead.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes down to me, Goo, and I hate to cop out, but to me it's apples and oranges. If you want somebody that you know who he's going to be for the most part, then you're going to go with Sam Darnold as your QB2. If you want somebody that it's going to be a roller coaster, we talk about Medusa, you're going to go with Trey Lance.
But you signed up for that when you drafted him and gave him the keys to start. So what about the want, though? Shouldn't they want to see? Obviously, they don't want to use their QB2.
But if you're in the throes of the season and let's say Brock is only going to be out 2 weeks, are you really going to – let's say it's not even long enough in theory for Trey to do enough to take over. Am I really going to throw Trey out there when it's been hot or cold, or just – I know what I have with Sam Darnold. I know sometimes it doesn't look great, but Trey can be bad sometimes. We literally saw Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Trey Lance in that game.
No, we did.
That game.
Can I tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm going to add Darnold to that list? Like when his first read isn't there, I feel like he turns into the Jet or the Carolina Panthers, the old Darnold,
right.
And then you start feeling the guys around you, the pocket starts to collapse. Like, I don't think those mannerisms he's gotten over. Now, if he's back there behind the Niners, starting O-line,
that's another
maybe
thing
you don't
too.
go there, but there is something about Darnold and the fumbles in the pocket, which we didn't see Saturday, to where I think he's uncomfortable still, even in the red and gold. Now, with that said, if we want to go job interview and we're going to hire the person with the most experience for the quarterback 2 position, then I don't think what we see this Friday and what we saw Saturday matters. It would be Purdy, Darnold, and Lance. But I am lightweight excited to see if Lance has a way to pull this off to be the back.
No.